Bloodstain pattern analysis is the study of bloodstains at a crime scene. It helps investigators understand the events that occurred. Blood does not lie. It leaves a record on walls, floors, objects. Forensic scientists learn to read this record. They look at the size-shape distribution of bloodstains. This information can reconstruct a sequence of actions. It can corroborate or refute witness statements. It is a powerful tool in the search for truth. Blood speaks a silent language. We just need to know how to listen and interpret what it is telling us. It is a discipline that combines physics, biology, and careful observation. This field is not about making guesses. It is based on scientific principles. The way blood behaves when it leaves the body follows the laws of physics. The size of a blood drop tells a story about speed and force. This is a fundamental concept in bloodstain analysis. The term we use is velocity, which refers to the speed of the impact that creates the drops. We categorize spatter into three main groups. Low-velocity spatter results from forces traveling at less than 5 feet per second. These drops are typically large, usually 4 millimeters in diameter or more. They are often created by blood dripping from a wound due to gravity alone. They are big, round, and tell a story of a slow, passive event. Think of a simple nosebleed, or a cut finger dripping onto the floor. Medium velocity spatter is created by forces between 5 and 25 feet per second. This results in smaller droplets, generally between 1 and 4 millimeters in diameter. These patterns are commonly associated with blunt force trauma. A punch with a fist or a strike with a bat can produce this type of spatter. The force of the impact breaks the blood into smaller particles. Forensic scientists have identified several distinct types of bloodstain patterns. One of the most basic is the passive stain. These stains form under gravity alone, no external force. Simple drips, flows, pools. A drip trail is a series of passive drops that shows movement. It can reveal the path a bleeding person took as they walked, ran. Shape and spacing of drops can indicate speed. Slow movement creates circular drops close together. A pool of blood forms when a bleeding person remains in one place. Blood collects on a horizontal surface, creating a large accumulated stain. Size and shape can suggest volume lost. Size and shape can indicate how long the body stayed there. The edges dry first. This is called skeletonization. If disturbed after partial drying, the original outline remains visible. That outline can show post-event activity. Impact spatter is different. It's created when a force strikes liquid blood. The stains radiate from the point of impact. Droplet size relates to force velocity. Transfer stains are created when a wet, bloody object comes into contact with another surface. The pattern left behind is a mirror image or impression of that object. These are some of the most recognizable and informative stains. A bloody handprint on a wall. A shoe print on the floor. The smear from a piece of fabric. They can help identify objects present at the scene. They can also establish a link between a suspect and a victim. A clear transfer pattern can show direction of movement, such as a person wiping a bloody hand as they fled. Cast-off patterns are a dynamic type of stain. They are created when a bloody object is swung through the air. Centrifugal force causes blood to fly off the object and onto a nearby surface. This typically happens when an assailant swings a weapon, bat, pipe, knife. The resulting stains usually form a linear pattern. The resulting stains usually form an arc-shaped pattern. By analyzing these arcs, an investigator can learn a great deal. The number of cast-off trails may correspond to the minimum number of blows delivered. Arterial spray patterns are dramatic and distinct. They occur when a major artery is breached. The heart continues to pump blood, forcing it out of the wound in spurts that correspond to the person's heartbeat. This creates a unique pattern of large, arcing stains. The blood is projected outward, often covering a large area. The pattern may show rises and falls in an undulating wave, reflecting the pulsating pressure of the arterial blood flow. The height and projection of these sprays can help determine the location of the victim when the injury was sustained. It unequivocally points to a catastrophic, and often rapidly fatal injury. Another set of patterns specific to gunshot wounds are forward spatter and back spatter. Forward spatter consists of blood that travels in the same direction as the projectile. It exits the body at the wound and continues onward. Back spatter, or blowback, is blood that is directed back toward the source of the energy. In a shooting, this means blood can be projected back toward the firearm and the shooter. Finding microscopic droplets of back spatter on a suspect's hands, clothing the weapon itself, can place that person at the scene at the moment the shot was fired. It is powerful evidence of proximity to the event. The appearance of a blood stain changes significantly over time. Freshly shed blood is a liquid. It is typically bright red and has a glossy surface. As it begins to dry, it undergoes a transformation. Red, deep reddish-brown, almost black. The drying process begins at the edges of the stain and progresses inward. Factors in the environment heavily influence the speed of this process. Heat, low humidity, direct airflow. Conversely, cold temperatures, high humidity. Observing the state of drying can provide a rough timeline. If a stain is still wet and liquid, the incident likely occurred recently. If it is completely dry and flaked, it is much older. One important phenomenon is skeletonization. This happens when the outer rim of a bloodstain dries while the center is still wet. In conclusion, bloodstain patterns are a rich source of forensic information. Each drop, each smear, each pool is a piece of physical evidence that contributes to a larger narrative. By analyzing droplet size, analysts infer force. Low-velocity drops suggest gravity at work. High-velocity mist points toward events like gunshots. The shape of a stain reveals its path. That path allows reconstruction of victim and assailant positions. These physical characteristics together tell a story. They stand independent of memory or deception, providing a factual backbone for investigation. Different pattern types correspond to specific actions and injuries. Cast-off patterns, swinging weapon, sealing, arterial spray, severed artery, pulsating bleed, wall, expirated blood, bubbles, respiratory involvement, transfer stains, place an object or person at a location. Identifying this catalog lets investigators piece a sequence of events. They can determine the nature of an assault. They can determine the number of blows. They can determine movements after bloodshed began. Analysis requires extreme care and precision.